All right, and we are live. Before we begin, I just want to mention something very quickly, and that is while I was, getting everything set up, getting ready for the live, and checking the settings the last second to make sure everything was fine, it seems like I accidentally deleted it, so I had to recreate it. And the issue is there was someone waiting in the first one, and I obviously deleting it kicked them out. So hopefully they were able to find it again. I know there was another person, or at least there was someone else waiting when I went live with this one. So hopefully it was the same person. They were able to find it. So I just want to apologize to whoever that was. That was definitely not on purpose. So, okay, we can get into it officially. The way this works is it's kind of broken down in two parts. First part is me kind of giving an update. It's my 16-month cancerversary, so I just like to celebrate the fact that, I'm still alive, and that's definitely something to be grateful for. And just, all the things I'm grateful for in general. And then as I go through that, you can start asking questions. That way, by the time I'm done that section, I can go ahead, start going through the comments and responding to any questions or comments that you may have. Now, I know we had an issue last time with someone who was spamming the comments, and because it was the first time it happened, I wasn't quite sure exactly how to block them, so I did wait too long to do that. Rest assured, if it happens again, not with the same person, obviously, because they've been blocked, they can't comment anymore. But, if someone else decides they want to spam the comments, don't worry, this time I'll be on top of him. I'll block him very quickly. So just wanted to get that out of the way. So, okay, time for the update. Normally, these are very positive and uplifting, and it will be partly that, but the last couple of days, let's say week or so, has been a little frustrating. Dealing with a bunch of immigration stuff, like there's no point in going into details because, you know, it's immigration. There's never any point in going into details. But if you've ever done anything with immigration or, pretty much anything to do with the government in general seems very similar. It's always a very long and complex and frustrating process. Every time you get to the next step, it's like, oh, well, it turns out there's a bunch more steps to do to get ready for that step. And then once you finally complete it and move on to the next, it's the same thing every step of the way. So, you know, kind of frustrating. And sometimes it's things that are outside your control. So even more frustrating, but it's all part of the process. So I might not be as positive as I normally am in these updates because of that, but I will still try to, express my gratefulness, my gratitude for everything. Just the fact that, I'm still alive. And I've been reminded of that recently. Um, we should just be grateful for every day that we're able to be alive, and I am to a certain degree, and especially when I go on walks. By the way, if you wonder what I'm drinking, it's a tea. So yeah, whenever I go on walks, go to the park, surrounded by nature, trees, everything, it always helps me, feel more relaxed, feel more at peace, feel more grateful to be alive, connected to the universe and everything. So whenever, I'm on that walk, which lasts about an hour and a half to two, sometimes 2.5 hours, depending on whether I take a break to just relax in the park. Sometimes if I meditate or, talk with people while I'm in the park, whatever, it's going to last longer. But minimum, I would say about an hour and a half. And during that period, I always am in that state of gratitude, but I seem to kind of lose it throughout the day. And I think that's because I haven't been quite able yet to go back to that state where I was before, of just like always being at peace and grateful for everything and just happy and appreciative of literally every aspect of my life. Because, there's still coughing, there's still, breathing issues at night, there's still trouble sleeping, even though most things are slowly getting better. I'm still dealing with some things. And that's the thing. In order to really feel that sense of connection with the universe and that sense of gratitude, for me at least, breathing is a huge part of that. And because I still have issues with breathing, I can't take deep, deep breaths like I was able to before, and that kind of helps or hinders me and kind of stops me from fully connecting like I used to. And that's why it seems like the gratitude that I feel is kind of intermittent at the moment. So I know it's only temporary, it's going to get better in the future. And I am still generally grateful for everything and everyone that I have in my life. But yeah, it's just I miss I miss just being in that state of constant gratitude. At this point, it's been what, like 5, maybe close to 6 months since, the coughing resumed and the breathing issues and everything that came with that. And it's like, yeah, okay, it's been getting better slowly for the last couple months, but it's not over yet. And as a result of that, it's just more difficult to be grateful. So I guess I have to kind of learn new ways to be grateful that don't necessarily involve the breathing. So I guess you learn something new every day. So overall, I just want to say once again, yes, I am extremely grateful just to be alive, grateful to be getting better, grateful that, I stopped losing weight, that, well, I don't know, I have a meeting with my doctor tomorrow, so they'll weigh me then, so I'll know if I gained or lost any weight in the last couple weeks. But lately it seems kind of stable on that front. I did start working out again this week, but when I received the dumbbells and like helping the guy bring them in the apartment and then taking it out of the box and testing everything to make sure it worked, seemed to have exerted my body more than I should have. And a result of that, the last few days my legs have been hurting. So I've been kind of taking it easy. I skipped a few days when it came to the walk. And today I was actually able to go on my walk for the first time in a couple of days, and it felt really good. It's not quite back to normal, not enough that I'm like, okay, I can start working out my legs with weights, but enough that I'm able to walk again and kind of be back to the current normal. So I'm definitely grateful for that. And obviously, I'm grateful well, first of all, my wife. I love her so much. She's a huge part of my life. She's been a huge part of just, you know, keeping me positive, keeping me sane and happy and healthy and to keep fighting and everything. Like, I know I say this very often, but it's like she is my cure. Without her, honestly, I'd have no reason to keep fighting. So I'm very, very, very grateful for her. And, grateful for my friends and family who are always there whenever I need to talk. Even though for the last few months I've been a little more distant than I have been in the past, I'm definitely very grateful for them. And of course, I'm grateful for every single person who watches the YouTube channel, everyone who's here live, everyone who, if you can't watch the live because, time zone differences, stuff like that, will watch it later. I am incredibly grateful for that. I know that a very small percentage of people watch simply because, I don't know, I guess it's human fascination of, watching people that are suffering, going through things, either because you want to root for them or you want to root against them. I'm aware there are both of those out there, but it doesn't matter. I'm just glad to be able to have this medium to share my story, even if not everyone necessarily always agrees with what I share. But it's part of the process. So thank you to everyone who watches and comments and shares and whatever it is you do. I really, really appreciate you. Thank you so much. I think that pretty much covers it. So I guess it's time to start reading the comments and responding. Oh, and by the way, if you're wondering why I'm wearing this, and actually I'll open it up because it's starting to get a little warm. Here in Canada, it's starting to get kind of cool. And it's still too early in the season to start heating, but it is kind of chilly, and I'm like, I don't want to be cold while I'm doing my live, which is why I have a hot tea, and I'm wearing this really like super, super thick sweater, and now I'm kind of regretting because it seems like the two, and now I'm a little too hot, but anyway, it's all good. All right, time to look at the comments. Let me just go back to the start. Yes, I did eat the pies. They were delicious. I did throw some up, unfortunately. But at this point, like, I throw a portion of everything that I eat up, so, doesn't really mean anything. I guess I should give an update on that front since I mentioned it. Throwing up at this point, it's very rare. Well, rare. Rare as opposed to, back when I was throwing up multiple times a day. So now I'd say it's maybe a couple times per week. And it's pretty much always triggered by coughing at this point. So once the coughing is finally gotten rid of, which I'm hoping be soon, the throwing should completely stop as a result of that. But yes, I definitely did enjoy the pie, so thank you for asking. Ah, that's okay. Hopefully you enjoy your work. If not, well, hopefully you survive your work. Because someone's saying they're at work and they'll have to watch later. Yay, you caught my live. uh, sorry, just skipped ahead because someone commented. So, you know what? I'm going to try something different. In the past, I kind of read the comments and then respond to it. Now I'm going to read the comment out loud and then respond to it if it's necessary. So, someone says, Jesus will have mercy on you. I respect everyone's belief. Um, she has stage 4 ovarian cancer and put my trust in Jesus. Okay. Jesus will have mercy on every cancer patient. Amen. All right. I'm glad Jesus was able to help you. Not necessarily my particular belief, but my wife is religious. She believes in God and Jesus and prays and everything, and it does help her a lot. So I'm glad it was able to help you too. Hey, Brendan says hi. So hi, Brendan. Brendan, never quite sure how to pronounce it. Beautiful things to say about your wife. I'm so glad you have such a lovely relationship. Um, it keeps you lifted and strong. Yes, absolutely. Like, honestly, if I didn't have my wife, I, I mean, I don't even know if I'd be alive right now. I definitely know that aside from just not wanting to die, I wouldn't really have any other source of motivation to keep fighting and stay alive. It's like, yes, of course, my friends and family, I know they would be sad if I died, but at the end of the day, it's like if the suffering gets too intense, it's like I'll do what's best for me, even if it means they have to suffer for a while. But it's like my wife is different. It's just like she's the most important person in my life, and I just can't bear the thought of leaving her alone, making her suffer and everything. So, she's definitely my reason for living. Hello to everyone. Veronica says hello to everyone. UW, not quite sure what that was. I guess it cut off before you could finish. Will you tell us about your beautiful love story? Already made I think 2 videos at this point about that. But a couple years ago, sold everything to travel. Traveled through Latin America, ended up in Nicaragua at some point. Ended up matching with my wife on Tinder, of all apps. And she's kind of going through a difficult time, so we chatted a bit. And there was like a month between when we matched and started talking and when we actually had our first date. So in that month I'm like, yeah, okay, I'm probably never going to see this woman ever at this point. But turns out we did, and turns out we ended up connecting, and within I think 2.5 weeks after our first date, we went on a 3-day trip to the beach together, and it was really a good way to connect and get to know each other, and it was really nice. And then a couple of days after that, when we returned, it was her birthday, and one of the presents I got her for her birthday was asking her to be my girlfriend, and since then we've been officially together. So that would be the story. And then I had to come back to Canada for health reasons and everything. Been kind of stuck here ever since, and ended up going back in December of last year, so 2023, to get married. And now it's just the hell of immigration. But that's that. I look very cozy. Well, thank you very much. Brandon. Okay, cool. Thank you very much, Brandon. I like how you find ways to describe it, kind of like how I explain people how to pronounce my name, because it's French and most English speaking people have no idea how to pronounce it when they see it written down. So Kat says, lovely to catch you live. You're looking cozy. Okay, apparently I'm looking cozy because two people seem to think so. Well, hello. Hi, I'm a former pancreatic cancer researcher and currently college instructor. Congratulations. I'm curious about medical specifics you can share, blood cancer markers, metastasis state, chemo, radio regimen. Thanks. I mean, I've talked about all the information that I do have in previous videos. It's kind of like scattered throughout everything. I can give you a brief summary right now. So I was diagnosed with alveolar soft part sarcoma. As you may know, it's a very, very rare type of cancer. In fact, I did the math, and my odds of getting that type of cancer were 1 in 7.4 million. So I basically won the cancer lottery. And from the information I've been told by my oncologist and other doctors, no one has ever survived stage 4 of this. So I plan to be the first one, very stubbornly, selfishly. And basically, what the doctor told me on the first day that we met, literally during our first meeting, he's like, well, first of all, he's like, there is no cure. There is one treatment. And if you don't do it, you'll be dead in 60 days. If you do it and it does work, and there's only a 60% chance that it will work, your odds of still being alive in 5 years are about 10%. And then I asked, what about 10 years? He's like, honestly, not enough people make it to that point for me to have any kind of information to give you any kind of statistics. So basically, from a medical perspective, I am fucked. So I mean, I don't have I have access to the specifics if I wanted to. It's just, to me, it's like that is not important to me. The biggest thing that I need to focus on is the mindset. So that's what I've been really focusing on. If there's anything specific you want to know, I don't have the information right now, but if it's important, just let me know and I can look into it. And assuming I find the proper information, I can go ahead and share that in a future video. Sorry, I kind of jumped ahead because of comments. Looks cold there. You look nice and cozy. Apparently, I look cozy. People keep saying that. Good. I guess that's a good thing. Sending you a big hug. Well, thank you. I appreciate that very much. And I mean, it is getting cold. For a Canadian, right now it's still not cold. Let's say 15 degrees. I don't know the exact temperature today, but let's say 15 degrees. It's like, well, compared to the summer when it's like 35, yeah, it's cold, but compared to winter when sometimes it's like minus 25 or 30, it's really not that cold. So it's really subjective. It's just because we're still used to the heat. Now that it's starting to get cooler, it just feels a lot colder. Whereas at the end of winter, when it's like 0 degrees, we go outside and we're like, it's so hot, and we're like walking around in a t-shirt. So it's just a question of getting used to it. What language do I speak with my wife? Spanish. She is starting to learn English, but it's still very basic, so Spanish. And unfortunately, I don't speak perfect Spanish yet, but I keep practicing every day, and speaking with her, texting with her, and everything definitely helps me get better. But yeah, I still kind of suck at it. Wow. Apparently, Brendan has yellow fever. Sorry to hear that. I'll be honest, I'm not 100% sure what that is exactly, but it definitely does not sound good. I'm just wondering, are there different colors of fever, and the color of fever determines how severe or how bad it is? That's probably not how it works. It's just a thought that occurred to me. I don't know why. So someone says, got my coffee here to listen to the man that'll beat stage. Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate that. Stage 4, prayers and love to you and your family. Much appreciated. Thank you very much. So I had meant to add, really admire your strength and positivity as you go through your journey. Thank you. Um, I like to, I've mentioned this in a few different videos, but I like to think of myself as annoyingly positive ever since my best friend described me that way. And I'm like, I like it. I'm going to use that now. But there were times, especially in the last, 4 or 5 months when things were difficult, that it's like there's just some days I'm like, I don't have the energy to be positive. Today is just going to be a crappy day. I'm going to be negative. It's going to suck. I'm going to enjoy the fact that it sucks. But yes, most of the time I am positive. Sometimes a little delusionally positive, if you will. So Veronica says, "What a beautiful love story. I met my husband while having cancer the first time." Ooh, yeah. It's definitely rough starting a relationship with that. For me, it's like I was diagnosed, let's see, be about like 7, 8 months after the relationship started. But it's like, yeah, it's definitely difficult. In a way, it sucks because like, already new relationships have a lot of work to do to get to know each other and everything and to see if you're a good fit. And then add the cancer to that, it just makes things more difficult. But on the plus side, if you're able to survive that, anything that comes after will be a piece of cake. At least that's what I'm hoping. Maybe I'm fooling myself on that front. I don't know. So just gonna finish the comment. So second time with breast cancer now. Sorry to hear that. Yeah, it's definitely difficult. And he's still with me. Stay positive, por favor. I don't know why I pronounced it por favor in English. That's the thing. Because I speak English and French and now mostly Spanish, I never know how to pronounce. Like, as an example, I live in Montreal. So it's like in English, when I'm speaking English, I'm going to pronounce it Montreal, not Montréal, even though, it's a French speaking province, French speaking city mostly. So technically, I should probably pronounce it the French way, but I just tend to pronounce it in English. So even though it's like, I know it's por favor, like I'm going to pronounce it por favor when I'm speaking English. I don't know why. I guess that's just the way I am. But it just sounds weird. Like, 'cause I'm so used to speaking Spanish that when I pronounce it in English, I don't know, it sounds weird. All right. What type of cancer have you got? I already answered that before, but I'll just mention it again. So it's called alveolar soft part sarcoma. Um, Death can come to anyone, anytime. Absolutely. And that's why it's so important to be grateful for every day that we are alive. Because, that's the thing. It's like we tend to grow complacent, I find, just because, we get used to things. It's human nature to, habituate to our surroundings and our situation and everything. So we kind of forget that we're going to die. But it's like everybody knows we're all going to die at some point. And when you're faced with something extreme like cancer, it's a good reminder, oh, yeah, okay, I could literally die at any time. And given the irony of life, part of me kind of wonders, like, am I going to, fight this for months and months and years and eventually overcome it and survive and become that first person to survive stage 4 of this, only to walk out of my door and get hit by a bus? Like, life is ironic sometimes, and obviously I hope that doesn't happen, but I'm like, yeah, I would kind of make a, sinister sort of sense. Okay, there was a comment that I don't know. That does not seem like a word to me. So sorry, I'm not even going to try to pronounce it. um, Shocker, but it's still raining here in London. Yep, that sounds like London. I've never been, but from what I've been told from people who live there and who have visited, it does seem to rain a lot. uh, so I mean, here in Canada, yeah, sure, we freeze our ass off in winter, but the plus side is, we have 4 very distinct seasons, so at least it keeps things interesting. So yeah, in the winter we freeze our ass off, in the summer we sweat our ass off. We're good in spring. Well, depending. If you live in the country, then there's the bugs. They're pretty intense. So we have fall. Fall's nice. Good thing it's fall. Um, am I afraid of dying and do I believe in the afterlife? In an afterlife? No, I'm not afraid of death just because I faced it so much at this point. The only thing I am afraid of is, as I mentioned before, leaving my wife behind and kind of forcing her to suffer as a result of my death. But death itself does not scare me because we're all going to die at some point. Sure, my goal is always to remain here as long as I can and enjoy life as much as I can because I know I'm eventually going to die. And when it comes to the afterlife, I honestly have no idea. And I honestly don't care because, as I just mentioned, we are all going to die. Whatever happens next, we have no way of knowing while we're alive exactly what comes after death. So, no matter what, we can believe something our entire life, or we can spend our entire life trying to figure out what happens after we die, but we never know for sure until that moment where we actually die and discover what comes after. And to me, I'm just like, I much prefer to be a surprise. I don't feel the need inside to try to figure it out. Like maybe religion is right, there's a heaven, there's a hell. Maybe atheists are right, there's nothing, you die and it's over. Maybe reincarnation. I don't know. There's so many different options, and I have no way of knowing, so I just prefer to be surprised whenever it happens. Hopefully, it's going to be in a long time, though. Okay, well, that's definitely not English, so I have. Well, it's not English, French, or Spanish. Basically, no language that I understand. So, unfortunately, I can't answer your comment. Sorry. Um, greetings from Berlin. Nice. Well, thank you very much. I wonder, what time is it in Berlin right now? Here it's a little past 2 p.m. Hoi. Okay, not quite sure what that means, but hi, I'm assuming. I'm very strong. Well, it depends. Mentally, I would like to believe so. Physically, at the moment, really, really, really not. In fact, I'm the weakest I've ever been. But, I'm starting to work out, so we're working on that. Am I gaining weight? It's hard to tell because there's always a delay of 3 weeks between me weighing. Like, yes, I could buy a scale, but I don't know. I kind of like having 3 weeks interval between every time where I weigh myself. So it kind of gives me time to have a focus of like, all right, let's really try to eat, or, let's really focus on walking or start exercising or, whatever it is. And then 3 weeks kind of gives my body time to adjust. And then I can see the results after that. Whereas if I weigh myself consistently, it's kind of like hard to know exactly what made an impact. So I definitely stopped losing weight, which is definitely very, very good. But at the moment, for the last couple times I've been weighed, it seems like the weight is consistent, probably around like 120 at the moment. So hopefully I'm gaining a little weight. It just seems to be a very, very slow process at the moment. Because I am eating as much as I can. It's just there's a limit to what my body can handle right now, and every once in a while I do throw up, so it's just like I'm limited in what I can do. Um, all right, so Manuela says I have cancer too. Sorry to hear that. Definitely sucks. Have I started training with the dumbbells? Yes, I started this week, so we're Tuesday. Yeah, so second day so far. Um, I was supposed to start with the legs, but because as I mentioned it earlier in the video, I did hurt my leg. I think it was on Thursday or Friday of last week. So the last few days, I've been kind of taking it easy, and I didn't want to, risk injuring myself because that's really something I want to avoid. So I started working out, yes, but I haven't done the leg workout as I was planning to do on Monday. Maybe I'll do it on Friday if I can. If not, I'll just skip it this week and start officially next week. But all the other muscle groups, yes, I am going to hit this week. So it's exciting. And I can tell the difference already. Like it's been a while since I've worked out with weights, but weights are definitely way better than elastic bands. Like, yes, elastic bands very good when you're traveling, but it's not the same thing. I'm looking good. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. And how can you keep your relationship healthy if you don't see her personally and the relationship is not as old? As far as I understand, close to 3 years, and you both can't see each other half of that. Um, okay, there's a lot of information there to unpack. So let me unpack it. We do chat throughout the day, every single day. And we do video chat well, almost every day. There's a couple days every once in a while, like if I'm coughing too much or for some reason we can't talk, but I'd say like 95% of the time we're gonna talk. There's just every once in a while for a reason something comes up. So we do, communicate very much and we do see each other on video and everything and we do what's necessary to keep the relationship strong. Distance is, yes, definitely very difficult, especially while going through what I'm going through. And yeah, it's not easy. It's still relatively new, but when you feel that something is right, you feel that it's right. Like you don't need to try to force it. It just happens by itself. And I've become very good at sensing what is right and what's not when what's wrong for me. And since the beginning, I felt like she's the one for me. So it's like to me, it doesn't matter if it's 3 months, 3 years, 3 decades. Like it doesn't matter. It's just about what can I do right now to connect as much as I can with her and to keep the relationship strong. Ah, okay, so it's 7:30 p.m. Okay, so not that bad. It's not like it's midnight or something. All right, so I think you're a wonderful person and I'm happy the tumors have springende. Uh, I'm assuming that's autocorrect. I'm not quite sure. I'm assuming shrunk, something like that. I'm following you from Denmark. Or maybe, yeah, the auto-corrected to Danish. So anyway, thank you very much. I appreciate it. And yes, it's definitely nice that the brain tumors have continued to shrink. So, radiotherapy does work. In some situations, it can suck, such as in the lungs. Man, like those 6, 8 weeks after that, that was tough. That was really intense. But, everything happens for a reason. Ah, it's raining here. I'm assuming you're in England. um, I've had a cyst a lot. I've had cysts a lot on the lower back, and now one is just above my armpit, and it's going away, and it's sore after the flu jab I got. Okay. Well, first of all, sorry you keep having cysts. That's definitely not fun. Any kind of, body invasion, and I'm not talking about like aliens or anything. I'm talking about like, cancer or cysts or things like that. Like it's definitely never pleasant, never fun. But, I'm glad that it seems to be going away and seems to be under control. So that's definitely good news. Ah, okay, yes, shrink. So, okay. I was correct in assuming that was what you were trying to say. Hello. Have I heard of RSO oil? That depends what RSO stands for. Um, Not as an acronym like that, it doesn't ring a bell. But I've maybe heard of like if you give me the full name, maybe I heard of that. But for now, RSO doesn't ring a bell, no. Do you still have, yes, I still have cancer. A lot of cancer. So even though it has shrunk, I still technically have 3 tumors in my brain. I have one huge tumor in my leg, and I have hundreds and hundreds of tumors in my lungs. So yes, the cancer is still very much there. But, considering the situation, um, I am in much better shape than I should be according to the doctors, which I kind of take pride in. I seem to be very good at, and I also enjoy very much defying the odds that the doctors give me. And it's always nice every once in a while when they're like surprised. They're like, yeah, okay, I wasn't expecting this, you know? Like they don't always say it, but sometimes you just sense it. They're like, okay, this I was okay. I was wrong. Cool. That's good news. But yeah, it's fun. Anyway, I enjoy stuff like that. Um, Hola. Ah, okay. I'm curious. You speak Spanish, I'm assuming. Where are you from? Actually, there were four pumpkin pies, not two. And yes, I did eat every single one of them. Hi, have you changed your diet, or is it the same as before cancer? Um, I have changed. Like there were specific periods where changed my diet very drastically. Um, Now I would say, I mean, because the thing is, I've always eaten very healthily. So it hasn't changed that much. Yes, there are a few things that I'm doing specifically that I didn't do before, such as green juices or taking vitamin supplements, stuff like that. But overall, I've always eaten healthy, so I would say it's slightly different, but mostly the same as it was before. There's just certain things that I try to avoid. But like the biggest one would be desserts, mostly sugar in general. Like I don't completely avoid sugar, but I don't know, it's just over the years, especially the last, let's say, 5 years, something like that, I just find more and more that I enjoy sugar less. And every time I eat something, I'm like, huh, I remember it being better, and I'm always kind of disappointed a bit. So I don't really have the craving for sugar that much. The only exception would be like pumpkin pie, just because it's that time of the year, it's the season. It's like I got to have. uh, Once again, yes, I do still have cancer. I already answered that. No, it's not raining here. It has been kind of rainy the last couple of days. In fact, yesterday it started raining when I tried to go for my walk, so I only ended up walking like half a kilometer. Um, but no, right now it's not raining. Make yourself some nice thick vegetable soup. That definitely sounds good. Maybe I'll do that. Well, not right now, obviously, but once I'm done. I've been waiting to catch you live to tell you my testimony and hope that it helps you and others. All right. Go ahead and share it with us. Hi there. Well, hello. Um, I love your love story, keeping everything crossed for you both that the visa gets sorted. Thank you. I mean, it's immigration, it's always a very long, complex, frustrating process, but I appreciate it. Am I still having immunotherapy? Yes, every 3 weeks, well, not necessarily like clockwork, but yes, every 3 weeks. And even though, that's the thing. Everything that I'm doing is always to buy more time, at least from the doctor's perspective. It's not a cure, it's always just a treatment to slow things down or, temporarily reduce it. So, immunotherapy seems to be doing its job, seems to be keeping things stable. So on that front, it's good. And yeah, that's pretty much what I'm doing at the moment. I'm also doing cancer rehab, which is basically just working out and then them checking my levels and everything and running a bunch of tests just to see what I need to do to stay healthy, to stay as strong as I can throughout this entire process. In fact, I have a my second meeting with them on Friday. So I don't really know what to expect. I'm assuming it's going to be similar to last time. They're going to run some tests, ask some questions, and just see how things are going. I was hoping to have a little more progress by this time, but because of the cold I had a couple weeks ago, it kind of postponed the whole working out. And then I had to finally get the weights, which, was a whole fiasco and took a while. So I'm a little behind schedule on that front, but that's just life in general. It happens the way that it wants to happen, not the way you want it to happen. Please let me know if you see this. I do see this. Ah, Rick Simpsonola. Yes, I have definitely heard of that in the past. That's the thing. I heard the full name. I didn't hear the acronym until now, so I wasn't quite sure what you were talking to. Please look into it. I had stage 4 and my last 2 PET scans were clear of cancer. That's awesome. Congratulations. Not medical advice, just telling you my testimony. Yeah, absolutely. Like at the end of the day, we all need to do whatever feels right to us. And even if something worked for one person, it might not work for the other people. And it just comes down to doing what you sense is right. You sound and look good. Look forward to your updates. Take care and God bless. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. I had breast cancer to bone stage 4. Oof, that's. Hmm. I'm not really familiar with bone cancer that much. I'm not quite sure exactly like how it differs from other types of cancer. I am kind of curious, but hey, I'm glad that, last few scans were clear, everything seemed good, so congratulations. What are you in a day? You only stay home? Um, Not quite sure what you're asking. So what do I do during the day? Um, I mean, obviously, first thing in the morning, I, you know, prepare breakfast. So it's like, take all the medication I need to take all the vitamins I need to take, drink the green juice, eat my breakfast, have a tea, go for a walk after that, which lasts a couple hours. Then after that, by the time I come back, it's usually around lunchtime, so I have lunch. And then in the afternoon, I kind of relax. Lately, I've been working on immigration stuff because there's been some things to do on that front, and also speak to my wife. And then in the evening, kind of relax. And I tend to go to bed very early lately, just because my body seems tired. So that's kind of been what I'm doing. It's very simple at the moment. I don't want to overexert myself, and I am trying to take advantage as much as I can as to like to of the fact that it's still relatively nice outside, or at least nice enough to be able to walk around. Because yeah, you can still walk around in winter, but it's just not as much fun with all the snow and the cold and everything. So I'm definitely trying to maximize the time that I have where I can go and just enjoy life being outside. Lots of young, healthy eating. Non-smokers seem to be getting cancer. It seems like nowadays everybody's getting cancer for every reason imaginable or no reason whatsoever, which is pretty much my case. It's like it's ironic when you think about it. It's like, never smoked, never did drugs, never did anything to warrant getting cancer in my lungs, yet I have hundreds of tumors in my lungs. That's just the way it works out. So, at the end of the day, yeah, you can try to be healthy, which I recommend, obviously, but you can't really control what will happen. So just try to enjoy life. Not to say like, eat junk food all the time, smoke, do drugs and everything. I mean, I guess if that's a life you want to live. But to me, it's like enjoying life is, going for walks in nature in the park and eating good, healthy food and exercising and feeling good in my skin. And it's like that to me is living life. That to me is enjoying it. So that's what I've been doing. But at the end of the day, it's like there's like always the story of, the guy who's like super healthy and works out all the time. He's in great shape and then he just gets a heart attack and dies. So it's like, you never know what's going to happen. Um, Very odd. Yes, yeah. But I feel like it's a combination of a few different things. First of all, you know, people's habits are just getting worse and have gotten worse over the last few decades when it comes to just, food and pollution and, just everything really. And I feel like also the ways to detect cancer have become better than before. So we're just able to detect it more and also detect it earlier. So a lot of the times before, it's like by the time someone detects cancer, it's an advanced stage. There's not much to do. Whereas now, if we're able to detect it more quickly, well, then we're able to, do something before it gets too bad, which is a good thing because it helps more people. But at the same time, it just gives the impression also there's just so much more people getting cancer. And also, it also depends. It's like if you have cancer or someone you know has cancer, then it just becomes much more prevalent, something that you think about, you're more aware of, and then you notice it more, whereas before you didn't necessarily notice it. Kind of like when you get a new car and then you see that same car everywhere. Well, it's like those cars were there before, you just didn't notice them because you weren't paying attention. So I feel like it's kind of a mixture of a few different things. I feel like I received a miracle. Well, that's definitely an awesome feeling, and I'm really happy for you. Was I at an English school? Yes and no. So I was homeschooled throughout primary school. Then I went 3 years to private English school. And then the last 2 years I finished at French public school. So yeah, English, French, a mixture of everything. Kind of wish there was more Spanish. That way my Spanish wouldn't suck so much right now and it wouldn't be such a struggle. But, it's life. The name of my immunotherapy is um, atezolizumab. I don't know why I always pronounce it in French because all the doctors and nurses and everything, they always pronounce it in French rather than in English. But it doesn't matter. It's very difficult name to pronounce anyway. But yeah, that's what it is. Please research RSO oil and the endocannabinoid okay system. Don't know what that is, but okay. It's quite amazing. All right, thank you for the suggestion. Nope, I've never had chemo. In fact, when I first had my meeting with the doctor, he told me chemo is not an option. It will 100% kill you. The only option is immunotherapy, which, if you're not really familiar with it, basically what it does is it boosts your immune system and it helps it fight the cancer with it, which is what it's supposed to do naturally. It's just when you have stage 4, it's so advanced, there's so much of it to fight that getting the immunotherapy helps kind of like strengthen your immune system so it's better equipped to fight it. It's not a cure, it is just a treatment, a way to slow things down, but that's really how it works. And I am grateful that I never had to have chemo because from like all the people I've known who've had cancer, who've had chemo, all the stories that I've heard, chemo just sounds really intense and in some cases ends up being worse than the cancer itself. So I'm glad I never had to make the decision, do I want chemo or not? Because I feel like that would have been a very difficult decision to make. Apparently, here in England, stats allegedly say we have 50% of getting cancer. 50, so 50% of people getting cancer? I'm assuming that would be 50%, like the odds of you getting cancer at some point in your life are 50%. I'm assuming that's what you're saying. That definitely does seem high, but at the same time, like so many people have had cancer, and we just kind of equate in general, most people equate cancer with, oh, they're gonna die. But it's like a lot of people get cancer and it's not that severe or not that advanced, and we're able to cure it and they just go back to living a normal life. So, yeah, 50% does seem high, but I'm actually not really that surprised. I think people want to see people like you fight your way out of hell. It gives other people hope. Yeah, I mean, that is one of the reasons why I'm sharing. Hopefully, it can inspire other people, it can motivate other people. I know some people also just watch because they're like, yeah, he's an idiot. He's delusional for thinking he's going to survive when no one else has. And, they kind of want to feel right, even though, like, I know they're not bad people and that's not really what they're doing, but I know some people are watching just so they can be like, ha, I was right. Like that feeling, like the people who like tell you, I told you when you do something and you end up being wrong. I feel like there's some of those people that are watching. Probably not that much, but I'm sure there's at least a few. But yes, hopefully most people can be, inspired and uplifted, motivated by me sharing the stories. That's, one of the main reasons why I'm doing this. So hopefully that's what's happening. Um, I had chemosurgery and radiation, but it came back to stage 4. Ooh, that sucks. And used RSO oil, and my PET scans were clear. It's worth a try. Maybe just my opinion. Much appreciated. Thank you very much. If you know what it is, you've never thought of trying, if you never looked at the studies, how it affects cancer. I've definitely heard of it, but at the end of the day, I've had so many people mention so many different treatments and so many different things have worked for so many different people, a lot of which contradict each other, that at the end of the day, I've always done whatever felt right to me. And I don't know, for some reason, anything to do with cannabis just never really appealed to me for some reason. So I just never did it for that reason. But I'm really glad that it worked for you. Exactly when you're going through, he'll best to just keep going. I'm not quite sure I understand. So I'll just skip that for now. How old am I? 34. Okay, comment just says help, so okay, help. Just grab some snacks, some lotus root chips. I don't think I've ever had those. Sounds pretty good. Takoyaki, not quite sure what that is. Okay, takoyaki puffballs. Okay, never had them either. And green tea. Okay, that I've had. At least I've had one of those. Uh, I know weird snack choice. Nah, not really. I eat weird stuff all the time. Like I'm the type of person who will just grab a pepper and eat it as if it's an apple. Same with the. I enjoy doing that, especially I did it a couple times in Latin America, and for some reason I'd get some weird stares, and I found it hilarious. Of just like buying a whole cucumber and just walking down the street eating the cucumber. And for some reason, people find that weird. And I just find that hilarious. So, yeah, I completely understand weird snacks. You hope I try RSO oil. Uh, Definitely something I will consider. I will consider everything. But at the end of the day, like I said, I'm just going to do whatever feels right. Absolutely throughout your life. Not quite sure. I'm assuming that's follow up to the previous comment. I love the way you navigate through your life. A quiet follower from New Jersey. Uh, Best for you and your loved ones. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. I like also the way you describe yourself, a quiet follower. Me too. I'm here because I've watched G's early videos. Oh, well, thank you. Not many people have watched the early stuff. It's only been, I think it was like no, maybe like 9 months after the cancer became focused on channel. I was diagnosed, and that kind of became my life. That things really kind of started to grow, and more people started watching, and people actually started commenting and everything. Like those earlier videos of a couple years ago, when I was traveling and just sharing my experiences as I was traveling. A lot of those videos got a couple views, probably mostly from my family just watching to keep up with what I was doing, and a few got actually zero of views. I don't know at this point if there's still some that have zero, but yeah, it's very rare people who have seen those earlier videos. So thank you. They said this last time that chemo wasn't an option, so I did my research and tried RSO oil, and two PET scans have been clear of stage 4. Once again, congratulations. Yep, lots of people get cancer and are cured pretty quickly. EI and me recovering from skin cancer. Congratulations. Hubby bladder cancer 15 years ago, so lots of people get 50% is high. Yeah, definitely 50% definitely is high, but that's the thing. I think it's kind of like, in the beginning, whenever something is new, it seems to be like like the biggest deal ever. Kind of like COVID, a couple of years ago, everyone's like freaking out. Like everyone's like, oh no, I don't want to die. I don't want to get COVID and everything. And now it's like basically just like a cold, no big deal. And I think it's kind of like, well, it's not quite to that point with cancer, obviously. When you get cancer, it is a big deal. It's not like getting a cold, but I'm just saying, like, it's kind of getting more normalized, I guess. I mean, yes, cancer has been like around for a while, but it just seems like people are just more and more aware of it because we're able to detect it more and more. So it's just become like kind of normal at this point. So yeah, I guess it's just part of life. When you're going through hell, just keep going. A quote I came across that resonated with me. Yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing. It's like if that was the whole principle of, I don't know, 5 years ago at this point, something like that. That whole principle of falling in love with fear. It was that principle of if you're able to be comfortable in uncomfortable situations, you're always going to be comfortable. So it's like if you're able to enjoy your journey through hell, once you survive it, life is just going to be that much more amazing. So, yeah, it's kind of been my mentality, what I've been trying to do. It's like, of course, I'm super grateful when things are going well, but I also try to make the most of the crappy moments because I know that one, I want to fully experience that, even if it sucks, and two, I might just be able to enjoy it slightly. And if I'm able to do that, it just makes you feel like you can do anything. And you need that belief in yourself when you're going through something extreme like this. First time I was suggested RS oil, but I was like, you. Okay, no offense. I really appreciate you. I'm really glad that it helped you. And I appreciate you sharing it with me. But at this point, you just keep mentioning it and mentioning it and mentioning it, and it just seems kind of pointless to read your comments at this point. So, no offense, I'm really glad for you, but I'm going to skip your comments from now on in live. So sorry. Are there any treatments that you have done or not done that you regret doing or not doing? No, I've always done whatever felt right to me. And even if the outcome wasn't positive or wasn't what I was expecting, I don't have any regrets because that's really what I'm the most afraid of in life is getting to my deathbed and regretting either doing or not doing something. And as a result of that, I've conditioned myself to always do what feels right. That way, no matter what happens, even if it's something bad, I don't regret it because I did what I sense I was meant to do. And as a result of that, no, I don't really have any regrets when it comes to that. Oops, sorry, long pressed by accident. Ah, okay. Takoyaki is like squid or octopus in a fried ball. It's good to try once over in Japan. Well, as a vegetarian, I'm probably never going to try that, and to me, it sounds absolutely disgusting. But I am aware that a lot of people like squid and octopus, so I'm glad you enjoy it. uh, sorry, just skipping a couple of comments here. Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, I appreciate you mentioning it. It's just you don't need to mention it over and over again. And once again, I'm really glad it helped you. So congratulations on that front. All right, just skipping a few comments about RS oil. How come your cancer was caught so late? Did you have no symptoms? The only symptom that I had, which I didn't realize was a symptom until after it was diagnosed, was the tumor in my leg, which was basically just a lump. And when it first appeared, I was working out pretty intensely. So I just kind of figured, oh, I pulled a muscle or something like that. It's probably just kind of like a hardened muscle or something like that. So, at some point I'll go see like a massage therapist or a chiropractor or whatever, and they'll help me out. And because it never hurt, because it never caused any issues, and also because I was working out, so it didn't really like show that much because of all the muscle I had, um, I never really figured it was anything to worry about. And it's only after I was diagnosed last year and they eventually did a scan of that because I kind of put two and two together, and I'm like, well, that could be related to it, so let me see if I can get a scan. And they did a scan and confirmed, yep, that is the initial source of the cancer. and then it spread to the lungs, and then eventually to the brain. But initially, that's where it started, but it was first diagnosed in the lungs. So that was the only, sign or symptom aside from the coughing, which was why I eventually, got the scan of the lungs that determined that I had cancer. And that's kind of how everything was determined. But the only sign before that would be the mass in my leg. Sorry, it skipped ahead a bit. Let me just go back to make sure I didn't miss anything. Watching from NC. Not quite sure what NC is. Would you mind letting me know? How many people don't have any symptoms until they visit hospital for another issue? Yeah, I'm sure a lot of people get diagnosed and had like no idea whatsoever. I got lucky in the sense that, the coughing led me to get a scan, which eventually led me to determine that I had cancer. But I mean, at that point, it was stage four. It'd been building probably for years and years at that point. So, definitely not ideal, but it's life. Okay, back off. Not quite sure what that was in regards to, but okay. Uh, okay, people seem to be having a conversation with each other, so I'll just let them have their conversation and kind of respond to the other comments. Don't worry, I've been a vegetarian for a few weeks. As I try, it helped me feel better, but I couldn't pass up on meat. Fair enough. That's the thing. I was raised a vegetarian, so the few times I've tried meat, I didn't like it. So it's not like I chose to be vegetarian and I kind of like miss the meat and everything. To me, it always seemed gross because I was raised vegetarian. It's like the few times where I tried meat, well, first of all, I didn't like the taste. I did not like the texture. And the worst part, whenever I ate it, I would just picture the animal in my head and it would gross me out. Like, just to give you an example, so you kind of understand what it's like for me, it's like if you came across like a dead animal on the side of the road, basically roadkill. That's what meat is to me. It's as appealing to me as roadkill. Like most people, when they see roadkill, they don't think like, tasty raccoon. I wonder if I can eat that. Most people be like, ew, dead animal. That's pretty much like how I react to meat. Not because I have anything against meat. In fact, I know it would be much easier if I ate meat. It's just I was raised vegetarian. I don't like the smell or the taste of meat. And to me, there's that kind of association of like, why would you eat like dead flesh? It's gross. So yeah, that's kind of how my brain works. Ah, North Carolina. Okay, thank you. Because I'm like, all right, I know NY, I know like a couple that start with N, but I'm like NC, NC. I guess I never heard it shortened before. I wish I had gone to mammograms regularly. Yeah, that's the thing. It's like we can live with regret of like, oh, I wish I would have done that. It's like, I could be like, oh, I wished I would have gotten that mass in my leg checked out before. Then it would have been detected before it spread to the lungs, before it spread to the head, before it got this intense. But at the end of the day, it's like I believe I manifested this because I needed to go through this experience in order to evolve and to become the version of myself that I'm meant to be. So even though it's like this could literally kill me, I don't have any regrets. Everything happened exactly the way that it was meant to happen, and everything that happens in the future will happen exactly the way it's meant to. So I just try to live my life without regrets in general. I just find it more enjoyable that way. I blame myself for not being more attentive to mammograms. Yeah, that's the thing. It's like we can blame ourselves, but at the end of the day, does it really change anything? It's like you could wish things were different, but there's no way of going back and changing it. So, why live in the past? It's like I understand the instinct, and I used to do that in the past. I used to regret and wish things were different, but it's just, I don't know. To me, it's not worth it. Like it's a waste of energy. I admire you so much. Would you ever have dreamt that you could deal so well with cancer? I don't really know that I'm dealing well. I guess I'll take that as a compliment. Thank you. But I'm just dealing with this situation the way it is. And ironically, there's a few times in the past where I thought I might have cancer. Like that's initially the reason a couple years ago when I came back, because like my now wife found a lump on one of my testicles, and I went to get it checked out, and they're like, "There's a chance it could be cancer, so go back to Canada, get it checked out." And that's what I did. Everything ended up being fine on that front. But there were a few times before I actually got cancer where there was the potential that I could have cancer. So it's kind of like, even though I didn't know it at the time, I always kind of felt subconsciously it was coming. It's like when you don't know it, but then when it happens, you're like, oh, yeah, okay, makes sense now. I guess I kind of saw this coming. I feel like that's kind of what happens. So, you know, you attract what you are meant to attract, I guess. Not that I would have ever chosen this, but, I don't regret it. And no, that's the thing. It's like, it's just funny when I was talking about like, when you kind of prepare yourself or track stuff, it's like, that whole process of falling in love with fear I was talking about before. I was challenging myself, like doing the ultra marathon, the isolating myself in darkness for 5 days, like challenges like that. I was literally testing my limits, preparing myself to overcome the biggest obstacle in my life, this cancer, without realizing it. And when it happened, I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, this sucks. I would not have chosen this, but I do believe I manifested this, and I have been preparing for it for the last few years. Plus, there's also the fact that my last name is Sauvé, which means saved in French, so I've literally been saved since the moment I was born. So anyway, just like a combination of things, it's just funny when you look back and in retrospect, you're like, huh, yep, this is exactly what was meant to happen, and I've been preparing this for a very long time. Just funny how it all works out. I'm vegetarian for exactly the same reason. Animals are treated abysmally in the food chain. Yep, absolutely. Trying the vegan way of eating now. Yeah, true. That's the thing. It's like, to me, I was raised vegetarian, so I'm used to like eating eggs and yogurt and milk or cheese or whatever. So it's like, but yes, I am aware that you know animals are not well treated, unfortunately, and that's just part of it. But to me, it's like that's the thing. I'm not an ethical vegetarian. I'm just vegetarian because my parents were. That's how I was raised, and I don't like meat. So yeah, but definitely, yeah, it it sucks. But at the same time, it's like, do we really treat ourselves any better when we think of it? Uh, Roadkill is a good analogy on why meat grosses you up. Yep, that's pretty much like that's when I use that example with my friend. That's him. That's when he really understood. Like, oh, okay, now I get how you feel about meat. Before it's like, okay, you just don't like it. Like as an example, like I don't like mushrooms. It's like to him, it's just like, oh, you don't like meat. Okay, it's like you don't like mushrooms. It's like no, it literally grosses me out because I don't know. That's how my brain was conditioned. I don't know. Hey, hello from the UK. Hello from Canada. I'm assuming it's raining over there. I know it's been kind of a recurring gag throughout the video. So, Viviana says I have to go. Have a wonderful day. Greetings from uh, Braintree, Massachusetts. All right. Not quite familiar with it, but sounds like a nice place. So have a wonderful day too. Um, I agree with you, Entronet. I also admire the vegetarianism so much. I keep trying and failing. I mean, I feel like at the end of the day, it's just doing what feels right to you. Honestly, if I was raised eating meat, I don't think I would be vegetarian right now, simply because eating meat is easier. And I feel like maybe in my situation, it would in fact make things easier because there's a lot of protein in meat. And as a vegetarian in general, it's more difficult to get protein. So, I probably would not be vegetarian if I was raised a carnivore. But yeah, I mean, I understand why people are ethically vegetarian also. Um, I know what it feels like to picture and see that, and it's sad and sickening to see. I'm assuming the roadkill, but we'll see. And I was on the vegan slash vegetarian side. I still eat it as I'm not picky. I'm not a picky person. I'll wear anything. Oh yeah, okay, because some vegans also refuse to wear leather and stuff. Okay, yeah. No, that's the thing. It's like I feel like a lot of people. It's just funny because I'm a vegetarian, and there is kind of like this perception that some people have of vegetarians and vegans of just like like all meat is murder and like fur is murder and like all that thing. It's like they lump all those people together and just assume that everyone is the same. So it's like I've also had some weird comments when it comes to people learning that I'm vegetarian. That was back when I was young, back when I was in high school. Someone found out I was vegetarian. They're like, "Oh, you don't eat chocolate?" And to this day, I'm like, "What does that have to do with anything? What does chocolate have to do with meat?" I don't get it. I should have asked in the moment, "What do you mean?" But it was just like such a weird and random comment that I just kind of like froze and tried to understand what they were saying. And to this day, I have no understanding of what they meant whatsoever. uh, I've heard some people do eat roadkill. It's gross. Huh. Well, I mean, I guess it depends the type of roadkill. Like, is it gross because of the type of animal it is, or gross because it's roadkill and you don't really know when when it was killed? Because to me, it's like, well, you're just recycling, really. If the meat is still good, I don't really see anything wrong with that. To be fair, as a vegetarian, I wouldn't eat meat anyway, so I would never be faced with that situation. Maybe if I ate meat, it'd be like, ooh, that's gross too. I don't know. But I don't know. To me, it doesn't seem that weird. I don't know. I feel like if I was just like walking, walking in the country, and I just saw like carrot on the ground, it's like, hey, if it looks good and if it's clean, like, yeah, I'll eat it, whatever. So to me, it would be kind of the equivalent with roadkill. I don't know. uh, eat anything I don't like autocorrect. I'm not. I'm assuming that's a follow up to a previous comment, but I'll eat. Okay, yeah. Where it says I'll wear anything. Yeah, I wasn't sure if it was autocorrect or if it was in reference to the fact that some vegans don't wear leather or stuff like that. So okay, glad to know it was eating. uh, have you had a pet? Greeting from Hamburg, Germany. All right, cool. Um, yes and no. When I was young, we had, because the thing is, my dad has always disliked animals, never really allowed us to have one, so dog was out of the question. He did allow us to have cats as long as they remained outside. To be fair, whenever he'd leave, we would like sneak him into the house, but I don't know if he actually ever knew that we did that. But anyway, yes, we did have cats when I was young. And my sister has two cats and a dog, and I've dog sat for them a few times because they used to do what's it called? I have the term in French, I just don't remember in English. LARPing. They used to do LARPing, and there was this one place they would go every year that would last a week, and they would need someone to take care of their dog. So a few times I would just go for a weekend, stay at their place and take care of their dog. And in fact, to this day, whenever I go visit them, their dog just like, I don't know, it's like we developed this special bond while I was there taking care of him. And every time like I go there, he just like immediately recognizes me and gets like super excited and jumps up and down and everything. Yes, he does that with most people, but with me it's like that extra level. So it's like even though it's not technically my pet and I don't get to see him that often, it kind of is also kind of like my dog in a way. So yeah, I don't technically have a pet, but I did when I was young, and I kind of do vicariously through my sister. I can relate to the feeling that cancer has something was something we may need in our lives. Yeah, that's the thing. I feel like all illness, well, everything in life really happens for a reason, whether it's good or bad. And as long as we learn what we need to learn from that, it will go away. So I'm not saying like, oh, do absolutely nothing. Like, yes, I'm doing everything that I can. I'm eating well, I'm taking supplements, I'm, I've done different alternative treatments on and off, and I'm doing some right now, and I'm, doing immunotherapy, and I'm doing everything I can to maximize my odds. But at the end of the day, I know that the most important thing is the mindset. What is this teaching me? What do I need to learn from this so that I can then become who I meant to become and not need this anymore so it will go away by itself? But in the meantime, I am still doing everything that I can to maximize my odds and just, stay alive as long as I can. And the sun has shifted and now it's starting to get in my eyes. So let me just adjust a bit my position. All right. Had to change my way of thinking as well. Yeah, that's the thing. Whenever you face life threatening illnesses or any kind of life threatening thing, it really causes you, in general, for most people at least, to have a shift in perspective, to really question your life, to question, well, everything really. And it gives you a new sense, at least for me and for a lot of people that I've spoken to, it gives you kind of a new sense of purpose, a new sense of gratitude, just in more enjoyment for life. So it's like, even if that's all you get from the experience, that can make all the suffering worth it. Law of attraction, yep, absolutely. You do look like you're healthy, so I feel like you are manifesting good health for yourself. Well, thank you. That's one of the upsides slash downsides with this type of cancer. Um, because it tends to affect more young people, um, we tend to look healthier until we die. So a lot of people, like, first, like, the upside is we don't look like we have cancer a lot of the time. So we don't get those, looks that we get from people from like when you look like you're a cancer patient, like when you look like super thin and you look sickly, or if you're a woman and like you lost your hair and everything's like we don't, in general, people who have this type of cancer, we don't look like we have cancer, which is a good thing. The bad thing is sometimes people are like, yeah, bullshit, you don't have cancer. Like I'm like, cool, you can believe whatever you want. Doesn't change the fact, but okay, cool. But yeah, I do believe that I am healthy, and that's the approach that I'm taking. Like, I 100% believe in law of attraction, manifestation, especially quantum manifestation. I've spoken about it in the past, but I feel like it's been a while, so let me just kind of resume that. Um, Quantum theory is basically the theory that there is a version of everything and everyone that exists simultaneously in parallel universes. So every possible outcome does exist in one universe, and you can, jump between those parallel universes. So it's like I can just, instead of being in this universe where I'm sick, I can just jump to a parallel universe where I'm not sick. So it's like I'm behaving as this version of myself in that universe that is not sick. That way I will, eventually become that version of myself and exist in that version of the world where I am not sick. So it's like, even though, yes, technically I do still have cancer, I don't consider myself as having cancer. I don't act as if I have cancer. I don't believe that I have cancer. And I do believe that has a huge impact on how you feel and how you look also. So yeah, that's kind of my mindset. And I know it sounds insane to some people, and that's totally fine. I understand that. It's just to me, that's what makes the most sense, and that's what allows me to feel happiest and most optimistic and increase my odds of survival. So that's what I'm doing. Am I currently reading a book and would I reveal it? As embarrassing as it is to admit for an author, no, I am not currently reading a book. I've read like thousands and thousands of books in the past. I've written 8 books, I think, at this point. But for the last few years, pretty much since I started traveling, I just have barely read. I did start reading a book in Spanish to help practice my Spanish. It's just I don't have the urge to read lately. I don't know why. So yeah, kind of embarrassing for an author, but nope, not really reading anything at the moment. So sorry, can't help with the recommendation. Have I never eaten meat? That's commendable. I have tried it a couple of times, a few different types, and I just never liked it for the reasons I explained before. So technically, yes, I did eat meat, but just very small amounts just to try. Nope, I also don't eat fish. So basically, no animal whatsoever. I just eat animal products. So eggs and dairy and stuff like that. Fish is full of plastic. I do not doubt it. Also, heavy metals, I've heard. Yep, tuna is full of mercury. There are certain advantages to being vegetarian. There's disadvantages too, but there's definitely advantages. Do you have a family history of cancer? Yes and no. My grandfather on my mother's side had lung cancer, but he was a heavy smoker his entire life and ended up not dying from cancer. He ended up dying from a heart attack. And my grandfather on my father's side also had cancer, but to be honest, he died way before I was young, and I just never really bothered to ask, a lot about the cancer he had and if it's what killed him exactly. So some history, but that's the thing. It's like this type of cancer, I don't know about other types of cancer, to be honest, but this type of cancer is definitely not, something you need to worry about passing down or receiving from your parents or anything like that. It can happen to anyone for any reason. Like they have no way of knowing how it happens. Uh, I've watched a crime show where killers fed bodies to pigs, and yet I love bacon. Yep, fair enough, fair enough. That's definitely one very common one. Like for people who eat meat and then become vegetarian, a lot of those people are like, I miss bacon. I've never tried bacon, so I don't know. I don't understand that, but yeah, I've definitely heard that many, many times before. Dogs are a man's best friend, but cats rule the roost. Okay, fair enough. I guess you're a cat person. That's the thing. It's like I like animals in general, not necessarily having them, because I find one, it's a lot of work. Two, especially in the city, you have to keep them indoors. I feel like it's a little kind of mean to the animal. I feel like if you have a pet, they should be able to like roam and kind of be free to a certain degree. And just like indoor pets, I find that kind of, I don't know, I just don't like it. Um, Plus, when I was young, I was allergic to, well, a crap ton of stuff, but including dogs and cats. So there's always kind of like that allergy a bit, in the back of my mind. And also, like, even though I can't travel now, I would like to travel again in the future. And it's just when you travel and you have pets, it just makes things more difficult because either you have to find someone to take care of them while you're gone, or, put them somewhere or place them somewhere while you're gone, or take them with you. But traveling with animals is very complicated. So, yeah, it's just, I don't know. But the thing is, my wife loves animals. She wants pets, so we're probably going to end up getting some. But hopefully, once, it's more down the line when we get a house in the country and everything, and then it's like, they can roam and have a little more fun. So we'll see. Um, let's see. Dogs are so nice. Yeah, definitely love dogs. But once again, I don't know if I'd like if it was just like me, not my wife or future kids or whatever. But if it was just me, I probably would never have pets for the reasons I just mentioned. Um, and I do believe carbs will eat bodies in the ocean. Crabs, sorry, my bad. Crabs will eat bodies in the ocean. I love crab legs. Yeah, I mean, that's just the circle of life, you know? Things die, things get eaten. That's just how it works. Agreed, mindset is key. Yep, absolutely. I believe it's like 80% mindset, 20% like everything else. So mindset has been what I've been focusing on. And I know that some people, when they, start watching my videos and join the channel and everything, they're like, I think that some people are like thrown a bit because like the theme of the channel is kind of like cancer, but I don't speak that much about the cancer. Like, yes, I do keep you updated and everything, but at the end of the day, it's like mindset is hugely important to me. So a lot of my videos focus on that. And I feel like some people are kind of like surprised and taken aback by that. Look it up. There's a pig farmer in Canada that fed them to the pigs. I heard about that. I didn't know it was in Canada, but okay. I mean, it's gross wherever it is. uh, I keep long pressing, and then the pop-up shows up, and I have to close. Positive mindset is key. Not always easy, though. I think you cope admirably in that respect. Well, thank you very much. I do my best. Not every day is as positive as I would like it to be, and I definitely miss that sensation that I kind of unlocked, I don't know, 5, 6 months ago at this point, where it's just like that sense of gratitude and just happiness and peace that I experienced every single second of the day. That was amazing, and I'm really looking forward to being back to that. But yes, I do, try to be as positive and, motivated as I can. Pretty God, you'll get better and will not last years until your soul will root. Uh, I'm talking from experience. I'm not quite sure what that means, but okay. So yeah, I can't really respond because I'm not quite sure what that means. How often do you get to have time daily with your wife, like FaceTime? Does that help you both while she isn't there in person? Yes, absolutely. So we try to speak every single day by video. We use WhatsApp just because that's what they use mainly in Latin America. And I believe FaceTime is only for iPhone users, and I'm an Android user. You can hate me if you want, it's okay. But yes, we do try to speak by video every single day. Every once in a while we can't, but most of the time we do, and it does help a lot. Like, yes, texting is good and we keep each other updated and on everything, but just that face to face, being able to see each other, to hear each other's voice does make a huge difference. Like, long distance relationships are always difficult, but I can just imagine how much more difficult it used to be before you'd be able to video chat with people. Like, I just can't imagine that. I don't know. It just sounds horrible to me. Am I happy? Um, I'm not sure if that comment is for me because there's kind of like a conversation going between different commenters, so maybe it's for that person, but I'd like to believe I'm happy. Most of the time I'm happy. Maybe not as happy as I was 6 months ago when I was in that state of just complete peace and gratitude all the time. But yeah, I'd say mostly I'm happy. Yep, I'm also confused. Sometimes there's like comments because of this conversation going on. Sometimes I'm just like, I don't know who this comment is for, so let's just skip it. What type of cancer do I have? I'm very sorry when I see young people having it. Um, it's called alveolar soft part sarcoma. Very, very rare. And this type of cancer usually affects younger people. But yeah, that's the thing. It's like cancer or any type of disease, like it sucks no matter the age of the person. I do understand how it's like if it's a kid or something like that, like it seems worse somehow just because they haven't gotten to experience life as much. Whereas an older person, it seems less sad just because, well, at least they got to experience life for X amount of time. So I do understand that perspective, but to me, it's just like it sucks no matter the age of the person. But at the same time, like I was saying before, it's like everything happens for a reason. We manifest everything in our life. So it's like, is it really such a bad thing? Like a lot of the people I've spoken to who had cancer and who survived it, they're like incredibly grateful for the experience because it transformed who they are. And it's doing the same for me. So it's like, even though I don't have that certainty yet of will I survive or not, even though, yes, I do believe and I'm doing everything I can to make that happen, I'm still in the process of going through that, yet I'm still grateful for every step of the way. Like, okay, maybe I'm not grateful in the moment where my when my head's in the toilet and I'm throwing up as an example, but overall, I am grateful for the experience and everything I'm going through. Which sounds weird to say being grateful for throwing up. uh, I'm so grateful they have so much time together. It's so important. Yep, absolutely. I'm assuming you're referring to me and my wife. So that's what I'm assuming. Um, I'm an author. Yes, I am an author. I've written young adult science fiction fantasy books. I've written 6 books in an 11-book planned series, as well as one standalone book. And I've also written like back in the day, that was like a long time ago, but I've also written like hundreds and hundreds of short stories, but that was like erotica because sex sells and I needed money and it was a good way to practice the skill of writing. So, yep, I've written a lot of different things over the years. So Jennifer says, yes, definitely. My mom had bowel cancer at 58 and breast cancer at 75, but I didn't believe it. She just carried on as normal. She passed away at 89. Wow, that's awesome. Not that she passed away, but I mean that she, survived those 2 cancers and passed away at the ripe age of 89. But not from cancer or anything related to it. That's awesome. I'm really glad to. It's always inspiring when you see people like that. It's the same thing for a friend of my best friend. His mother had cancer, and they kept telling her like you have X amount of time to live, and she just like refused to die, and she ended up like living for 20 years. And at some point, she's like, "Nah, I'm done." And then she was dead a couple weeks later. So it's like that's when you realize that the mindset, the power of what we believe is so much more important than anything else. It's really crazy when you think about it. You'd fall under lacto-ovo vegetarian, so go ice cream. Yeah, that's the thing. At this point, there's so many different like subcategories of vegetarian and vegan and everything. There's like pescatarian and everything. To me, it's just funny, like people who like try to claim something when they're actually something else. It's like, people are like, I'm vegetarian, but I eat fish. It's like, okay, so you're not vegetarian. There's nothing wrong with that. Just don't say you're a vegetarian when you're not. I have nice teeth. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. To be honest, I do, or I did in the past. Now I don't know if I still do, but I do. I did grind my teeth, so that's how you can see like they're a little worn down. But at least they're mostly straight, so I got lucky on that front. So you're a dog person with a rescue cat. Okay. I like the how illogical that is. I like it. Animals are a big responsibility to many. Yeah, there's a lot of people who went through the whole COVID and like, COVID's pet thing. And then like COVID ends and the lockdowns end and they're like, crap, and now I'm stuck with a dog or a cat or whatever. Yep, I'm sure a lot of people now have pets that they're just like stuck with and they're just like, this was a bad idea. Um, Hi G, have you been eating better? You look like you have gained weight a bit. All the best. I hope you'll continue to get better. Well, thank you very much. I don't know if I've gained weight. I definitely see it in my face. I've gained a little weight in my face, but overall, I don't know. I know it's going to make a big difference is going to be once I'm able to start working out regularly and like my body starts to get used to it and starts to respond and my muscles start to grow again. Because at this point, it seems very difficult for me to put on fat. Um, so it's like muscle is pretty much my only other option. So that's really kind of what I'm counting on because it doesn't matter. Like I can force myself to eat as much as I can. It just seems like I'm not able to get fat or like really put on much fat. So muscle is kind of like what I'm counting on right now. Chocolate button eyes, nice. Or crappy eyes, depending on how you look at it. Uh, Great content. Have to go. Have a good day. Well, thank you very much. Have a good day too. Uh, Send love, my battle friend. Well, thank you. Sending love to you too. Are you French Canadian? Indian? Yes, I am French Canadian, but not Indian. Although to be fair, I'm sure I have native Indian like blood somewhere in me from past generations because the history of Quebec or Canada in general is the French came over and pretty much all of them were men. And how do you reproduce? With local women, which are Amerindian. So most people have at least some Indian blood in them. So I'm pretty sure I'm part of that. So I don't know how much I have in me, but I'm pretty sure it's not enough to technically be considered Indian. So French Canadian, yes. Indian, no. Cadbury chocolate buttons are so good. Oh, because of the chocolate button ice thing. Yep. Um, I used to be a caramel guy. That was my favorite candy bar. Well, caramel and Mars. But now I don't know. I don't really enjoy sweets that much anymore. What are the books? I'm an avid reader. Uh, so the name of the series is Will Save. Unfortunately, and the reason why I picked that was because I write in English, not in French. And my name is Guillaume Sauvé, which translates in English to William Saved. And I'm like, oh, Will Save, that sounds like a cool name, so I'll use that as my author name. But then I'm like, that sounds like a really cool like hero's name, like a main character's name. So I decided to use that for the main character's name. The problem is because Will Save, like anything to do with religion, so when you search Will Save, it's very difficult to find through that, unfortunately. So I guess the best way to find it if you're interested would just to go to my author website, which is gsauve.ca. So gsauve.ca. Also, if you go to the description of the YouTube channel, there is a link to my author website, so you can go find it there also. I've seen elderly people, cough, cough, my grandma, who I loved, but she worried all 89 years that I think. Oh, that's sad. That's why manifesting things is hard for me to understand because my grandma, you know what I mean? Yeah, to be fair, I spent most of my life trying to manifest things and failing because to me, I always loved the concept of manifestation of like mind over matter. And I always believed in it. I always knew it was true. Yet I always felt kind of like undeserving of it. So it's like I was trying to manifest it, but at the same time, I was blocking myself because I didn't believe that I deserved it. And it's only, like 8 months ago, something like that, whatever, when I had that shift in perspective. And, that just like I realized, like, oh, okay, I just need to be the version of myself that is healthy, that has all the things that I want to have, and I will become that version of myself. The world will change to match that. And it's like all the fears and doubts and worries and insecurities and everything just went away. And it's like that's when I really understood, like, oh well, that's why I was never able to manifest anything. And it's like I kind of lost that for a while, for the last 5, 6 months maybe. And as I'm able to slowly recover and I'm getting better, um, I'm kind of slowly getting back to that. But yes, manifestation is definitely a hard nut to crack because you need to believe it with every fiber of your being. And that's often very hard to do. Do I write under my own name? Because, as I mentioned before, my name is so difficult for English speakers to pronounce. Um, and because I took what was supposed to be my author name as the name of the hero of my series, I ended up going with Jisove. So relatively easy to pronounce, even though I'm pretty sure that most people just glance at the name quickly and they're like, oh, Jiswab. So yeah, that's probably what I assume a lot of people think my name is, Jiswabe. But it kind of sounds like, exotic Latino since my wife is from Nicaragua. I'm like, yeah, okay, seems fitting. I'm trying to figure out, should I move again? But the sun's always going to keep following me, so let's just try to remain in this zone where I'm blocked. Um, she will eat you. Okay, I'm not quite sure what that reference is. Hi G, do you, your wife, have children? This world needs more little G's in this world. Thank you, I appreciate that. No, at the moment, neither my wife nor I have any children, but we would like to have some in the future. Once, this whole cancer thing is over, because now is definitely not the right time. Plus, the fact that we're not living together would make it very difficult to have children. But yes, hopefully at some point in the future. Ah, je te souhaite une bonne soirée. All right, so either someone else from Quebec or someone from France, or just someone who speaks French. Although if it's soirée, I'm assuming it's the evening where they are, and since it's not evening here yet, I'm going to assume they're French. That's my logic. We'll see. Well, actually, we probably won't, since they're wishing me a good evening. It's probably because they're leaving. In fact, I believe I have reached the end of the comments, so I think we're all about to leave. If you have any last question, like last second burning questions you absolutely need me to answer right now, please comment immediately. If not, I'm going to end the live here. And before I do, I just want to thank you once again for being here, for commenting, for being so kind and supportive. And I appreciate every single one of you. So thank you very much for being here. And someone said sleep well, so I'm assuming you're also not in the same time zone as me. Have a great day. Absolutely, I definitely will. All right, someone says, I'm about 15% Cherokee Indian and was able to get a report my uncle did on that part of our family. You should get that blood test and find out because you definitely look part Indian. Yeah, like my mother looked like way more than me. So there's definitely some Indian blood, but like I've always been kind of curious in a way to do the blood test and just figure out like, what percentages of what I have. It's just never really been a priority, and now more than ever is definitely not a priority. But one day would definitely be nice to do. All right, so been lovely chatting with you. Well, thank you very much. Have a lovely day as well. Someone saying bye from England. So bye from Canada. Thank you for being here. I know in England it's probably quite late at the moment. Positive chat. Take care. Well, thank you. I'm assuming also from England. Uh, all right. Well, it seems like pretty much the end of it. Seems like there's a lot of people from England here. So good evening to all of you. Or if you're, in the US or Canada, enjoy the rest of your day. So thank you for being here, and I'll talk to you at some point in the future.